Wow! Woo! Bravo! I guess God is doing a little computer tweaking here. Let me know if you can hear me, see me, all that good stuff. And thank you for everybody, whoever's supporting me right now. We've got a team of geniuses helping out to get this happening here. Anyway, I want to lighting a candle first of all for Brother Sean's wonderful gala in a half an hour to raise funds for the Abbey. So let's all just close our eyes for a second and just envision God's grace and abundance showering down upon Brother Sean's pocketbook and bank account and the heart and all of the community that's involved in this. And let's just see just incredible rainbows, the pot at the end of the rainbow filled up with God's golden coins and love. And yay, congratulations, Brother Sean, on your great, amazing tenacity and spirit and strength and stick-to-itiveness and all that great stuff, inspiration. Brother Sean, you will probably remember that you asked me to speak about Meher Baba. So I am going to speak a little bit about him and read some of his material. I wasn't able to get videos on. David helps me with that, but he's not around. So anyway, I'm just going to be blabbing away here. And this candle is also for one of the greatest teachers that's walked upon this earth, named Meher Baba. And I won't get much into what an avatar is. It's quite controversial. It's quite tricky material. I really don't want to go there. If anybody wants to ask me personally, you can do that. But without any further ado, basically this candle is for his love and his magnificence that he brought onto the planet. He died in 1968 and he continues to bring to the planet. And here's a picture of him. Little, let's see, yeah, anyway, that's him. And this actually goes with me to bed every night and sits across from me with clients during the day, and his loving presence shines upon all that are in his energy. And basically, Meher Baba was born in India to a Zoroastrian family, and in the turn of the century or late 1800s, and he was one of the great Indian spiritual visionaries and teachers, holders of energy. And there's a lot about how these beings come onto the planet, how people like St. Francis and these huge beings, the apostles, all of these amazing beings, how actually God assists the process in having that kind of gigantic energy incarnate into human form. So it's a very interesting topic, one of my favorites, which maybe I'll get into if you really want to go out on a limb with me sometime. But meanwhile, I'm going to read some of his material. Meher Baba spent 40 years of his life in silence because he said we've received enough teachings and through Christ, Buddha, etc. And we really don't need any more teachings. We need to really go within and source the God within our being. So here's the first quote of his, and I hope you don't mind if I read a lot of things. I kind of like to have a non-reading session, but this will be a lot of reading material, so bear with me. He says so he didn't speak, so sometimes he used a letterboard to spell out words and dictated to his assistants. And then at the end of his life, he actually used sign language. And, this means love for all beings, all kinds of sign language. And through an intuitive communication system and sign language, he actually dictated enormous amounts of material and books and so forth. So here's one of the things that he dictated. Each and every seemingly individual soul is destined to realize its one indivisible self. Now he would call each soul a drop soul. Drop soul means the drop in the ocean versus the ocean. The ocean is made of the many drops. And we are all drop souls, individual drops within the great ocean. As soon as the Atma, which is the individual soul, the drop soul, as soon as the Atma begins to unfold to the first faint consciousness of its infinite and eternal state, it is confronted by its own shadow. So as soon as the Atma incarnates into its conscious state, it faces the shadow. The shadow bumps into it right there. So we all know that in our lives. You know, our shadow, we walk this dual life of light and dark polarities on this planet. And it's so interesting that this is all part of the divine plan. And if you turn the news on today and you look at what's going on, I mean, you just can't even believe it. Deep, profound shadow. But on the other hand, there are others on the planet that are bringing light. It's all part of the grand plan. No accidents. You know, we look at this unbelievable stuff, Middle East and all different things, and we think, oh my God, that's just a big mistake, or that's not the way it should be. The shadow is part of God, part of God's experience. God is everything, light and dark. He goes on to say, the Atma, or the drop soul, gets immediately lost in the consciousness of this shadow, and from then on becomes involved with the interminable play of illusion. So we watch the news, we see these unbelievable, wild things going on. The other day I saw a guy from Gaza. He was a reporter reporting from a hotel window, and he showed his camera right outside the window and showed that within the last 5 minutes a tent had appeared right outside the window of the hotel. And these tents are around Gaza. There, the Hamas is putting up tents, and underneath the tents they put up these missiles. They hide them, put them up, and then blow up everything. So here's a tent going on. All of a sudden the tent disappeared, as I'm watching on the TV, and there are these missiles hiding under a bush. 5 minutes later, there was a gigantic explosion. So we all look at this stuff and we react. We react. And we think this is real. Well, it is real within our journey here. But within God, which is the light and the magnificence of all things, this play of the illusion, which is this shadow thing, is really, as he says, a play of illusion. It's hard for us to get that. This hankering after play and display, show and tamasha, persists. You know, the dance of this illusory dance here, in one form or another throughout the soul's journey to truth. In a child, it derives pleasure in playing with toys. That's our first journey into this earth plane. Playing with toys. We think the trucks are real, and we think the dollies are real, and we think all this is real. As a man, it demonstrates its fondness for play through the enjoyment of sport, drama, and adventure. He calls this an addiction. This addiction, this craving for more of these activities, persists even when man is embarked on the spiritual path, when he still indulges in his love for play and display by exhibiting his supernatural powers in the form of miracles. So, Meher Baba says, miracles are not the point. Now gets a little controversial. God doesn't need to prove his magnificence through miracles. God just is. He doesn't have to prove this. We get all excited about miracles, and we think that, oh, miracles are really the proof that God exists. Sr Baba says love is the proof that God exists, not miracles. Love. That's a little tricky to understand. Unless and until man stops seeking escape from his ultimate destination by losing himself in the childish play of illusory pleasures, he cannot grasp spirituality seriously. It is time to stop playing with the scintillating toys of illusion and yearn for attainment of the one and only reality. So it's time to not get seduced by the glitter and glamour of all of our addictions or even miracles. What is the journey about? It's about merging with the divine, merging with love. That's the point. That's the point. And we see that in St. Francis's life. Whoops, my thing. We see that in St. Francis's life. His love for God, for the creation, for brother, sun, sister, moon, for Jesus, for his brother monks, was the whole thing. It really wasn't about miracles. It really wasn't. It was about his love. And that's the thing. That's the whole thing. So Sr Baba goes on there. He dictated, once again, because he didn't speak, this material called discourses. And in the discourses, he covers many, many topics. And one of the things he talks about is the new humanity. The new humanity. And the new humanity, if I can find where I cleverly marked the new humanity thing here. Where's that? New humanity is about what you and I know deep in our hearts. It's the creation which actually is beginning to manifest. It's the creation of the experience of divine love and brotherhood with one another. It's the creation of forgiveness with one another, gratitude with one another. It's this creation of new consciousness. It's about the shift. It's the creation of, or the existing in the consciousness of the present moment, of the fact that we actually have a choice to live a conscious life. The old consciousness didn't know that. It seemed like we were at the effect of all these things coming at us. The new consciousness is we have a choice. Choose light, dark, happy, sad, bullying, forgiveness. We have a choice. So he goes on to talk about the new humanity. And the new humanity also, just a comment on that, the ancient Indian seekers, or not seekers, excuse me, yogis from like 2000 BC went into these deep states of spiritual meditation, and they saw the manifestation of the universe and how the earth plays itself out in different forms. And what they saw were things called yugas. Yugas are different chapters in history. The earth has gone through many different yugas, and there are different qualities in each yuga. We live right now in what they call the Kali Yuga, the age of darkness. And in all great traditions, they speak about this in one way or the other. The Tibetans say that when the iron bird will fly in the sky, we will be living in the Kali Yuga state. The Kali Yuga is when we are the farthest away from God's source, from spirit. We are entrapped in the illusion of the materialism and greed and human beings profoundly lost as a result of being disconnected from source. That's the Kali Yuga. This is the sort of tail end of this age, moving into what they call the Sattvic Yuga, which is the age of light. Buddha called it the golden age. And that's the new humanity. And that's what the Tao community is about. It's about holding the banner for this new humanity. And that's what many of us have come here. And I always say, I always get tears in my eyes when I think about that, because I will willingly go to my death to raise the flag, carry the banner for this new humanity, for a loving existence, for being in brotherhood and sisterhood with one another. That's all I care about. And when I'm with a client, I'm a psychotherapist, for those of you who don't know that, healer, psychotherapist, and my whole approach is really bringing people back to their own spiritual interior landscape, whatever that is for them. And when I sit with another human being and they open up to the point where their vulnerability is completely raw and fragile and profound, I am so in awe of sitting with another human being in such a naked state, so authentic, so touches my heart. I get very teary talking about this. And that's really a service. That's my service. Everyone's different. That's my service. But to me, that sitting with another in such a space of love, such a space of tenderness and, I don't know, honor, is such an honor for me and God's gift to me. And that's the new humanity. That's my little piece of the pie. So Meher Baba goes on to talk about the new humanity. As in all great critical periods of human history, critical periods are these yugas, different ages. Humanity is now going through the agonizing travail of spiritual rebirth. Great forces of destruction are afoot and seem to be dominant at the moment. But constructive and creative forces which will redeem humanity are also being released through several channels. So we have again, sorry, I'm tearing up. We have again this polarity. You turn on the news and you see this Gaza thing going on with these, this tent I saw and everything blowing up and seeing right in front of our eyes. You know, that's so dark. Darkness. It's not about judging. It's just dark, intense darkness. Those forces are generating themselves to expel darkness. It has a purpose. It has a function. It's not just some idiots doing something. It has a darkness. As my son Ian always says, the darkness is here to serve the light. So, although the working of these forces of light is chiefly silent, you know, I mean, we see so much drama. We don't really turn the news on and see about how great the Tao community is, or how great my work is, or how great, you know, my son Ian's working in his Harvard Psychiatric Hospital for the first time. He's a psychology major, and he's so happy to be able to serve these human beings. You know, that kind of thing, service from the heart. That's the silent light. So although the working of these forces of light is chiefly silent, they are eventually bound to bring about those transformations which will make the further spiritual advance of humanity safe and steady. It is all a part of the divine plan, which is to give to the hungry and weary world a fresh dispensation of the eternal and only truth. Meher Baba says that that God is about innocence, truth, beauty, and love. And those are the only lasting things that matter. And this is silently happening in the background. At present, the urgent problem facing humanity is to devise ways and means of eliminating competition, conflict, and rivalry in all the subtle and gross forms which they may assume in the various spheres of life. Military wars are for sure the most obvious sources of chaos and destruction. However, wars in themselves do not constitute the central problem for humanity, but are rather the external symptoms of something graver at their root. Wars and suffering, and the suffering they bring, cannot be completely avoided by mere propaganda against war. For if they are to disappear from human history, it will be necessary to tackle their root cause. So he goes on about that. Let me just see here. Okay, so the root cause of the chaos which precipitates itself in wars and chaos and despair and all that is that most persons are in the grip of egoism and selfish consideration. They express their egoism and self-interest individually as well as collectively. This is the life of the illusory values in which one gets caught. So we've got sort of extreme fundamentalism type of thinking. I'm right, they're wrong. I'll go fight for the cause and get rid of everybody else, and that kind of thinking. That's basically ego-based. And actually had a really interesting experience on my end. I started a group, a support group for consciousness for women, and a friend of mine and I started it. And there's one woman in there that I don't really know very well, and she's very aggressive energy. She can kind of be a bully and this kind of thing. And the last group I was in with her, she clearly was bullying her point of view through into the group. And I got my buttons pushed. And when I see a bully, I get my boxing gloves on and I start boxing the bully, and I become a bully too. And it was pretty fireworks flying. I wasn't raging around, but I certainly was defending my territory. And when I left the group, I had to go sit in my favorite nature sanctuary and take a look at what was God trying to show me. Not look at her bullying. What was God trying to show me? And I actually started to take a look at my ego and how my ego puts my boxing gloves on when I get around bullying, aggressive energy. And then I start defending myself. So I started saying, well, maybe I don't have to defend myself. Maybe I could stop doing that. What am I defending anyway? This is the same. We're talking about the larger example of wars and a smaller example of my individual self. Same issue. My ego gets riled up, and I need to look at my own ego. Or in a collective, the collective needs to look at its ego. So I'm learning to not defend myself in a situation like that. So I ask all of you viewers here, where in your life can you start taking a look at how your egoism and self-interest, selfishness is running things? Everybody has that. We all have that stuff. Where is that actively or passively happening in your life? Doesn't mean you need to be a loudmouth. You can be a passive person and do this. Where's this happening in your life? Where's it happening in my life? This is the new humanity, telling the truth about our shadow, so that we can, I always say, clean up our garbage pail and help bring in the new humanity, because we've done a lot of cleaning up. So just take a moment, just close your eyes for a second. Take a deep breath. I'll quiet down for a minute. Get still in your body. Get very body centered, grounded in your feet, into the earth. and ask God or your higher self or your angel self or Jesus or Buddha, whoever you go to, help me see where I can improve in my shadow area in my life. Where do I become part of the problem? Where do I defend the cause and become a bully? Or where do I become a passive victim? Same thing. Or whatever your story is. And just look, tell the truth, and ask God to help you. This is the new humanity work. So you can open your eyes and let's read a little bit more here. Let me see here. What does he say here? I don't want to read just a lot of stuff. Okay, so the new humanity which emerges from the travail of present struggle and suffering will not ignore science. Science is part of this, he says. He says that spiritual understanding, scientific truths, attaining of values are all part of the new humanity. So then he says, the coming civilization of the new humanity shall be ensouled not by dry intellectual doctrines, but by living spiritual experience. That's one of my favorite topics. I taught in a university last winter in a class. I co-taught with a professor, and he was teaching spiritual psychology principles, the intellectual piece. And my part of the job was to teach spiritual exercises through experience. So, how to meditate, how to ground, how to breathe into your body, how to simmer down your mind, all that experiential. And one of the things, Brother Sean, if you're still on, that I love that you do when you get on your broadcasts is you're very experiential. You kind of speak with your sort of wonderful voice into the camera and just sort of soften and melt and invite us in to this place of quiet and sacred space and I just call it this yummy place within ourselves. And that's the domain of grace. Grace is a living, vibrating presence that comes only through personal experience. So that is another piece of the new humanity. Each one of us is called to go within, to quiet down. Just close your eyes for a second. Again, breathing into your body, grounding into the earth. Feeling the oneness with all things and all beings, all trees, all rocks, all people, all suffering and all joy. The Middle East, Brother Sean's Abbey, my place in nature that's my sanctuary, your special spot that is your sanctuary. All these different parts of our experience on the earth. Just breathe into the isness, the Buddhists call the suchness or isness of existence. And within that present moment exists the grace. The pulsing existence of consciousness is alive. Alive and well. And that's the new humanity. Open your eyes when you're ready. The new humanity is the quieting of the mind, getting into the body, quieting down the chatter, getting present, and being with what is. Whether it's yucky news on the TV or a sublime experience with a spiritual experience, it's all right. That's what I love that the Buddhists say. It all just is. That's quite a tall order to achieve that state. A state of detachment, non-resistance, and allowing that creates peace within ourselves. All is the play of consciousness of God. God is driving this bus. We're the passengers. That's the new humanity. So, he goes on to say, among this the coming civilization of the new humanity shall be ensouled not by intellectual doctrines, by living spiritual experience. Now that's a pretty profound statement. Living spiritual experience. It is not the intellect, the chatter of the mind, the concepts. It's the living experience. That is the combination of the heart-mind. The mind dropping into the heart and living from that place. So spiritual experience involves more than can be grasped by the mere intellect. This is often emphasized by calling it a mystical experience. The spiritual experience that is to enliven and energize the new humanity cannot be a reaction to the stern and uncompromising demands made by the realities of life. But man will be dislodged again and again from his illusory shelters by fresh and irresistible waves of life, and will invite upon himself fresh forms of suffering by seeking to protect his separate existence. So that says, as long as we see ourselves separate, as long as I see myself in my body, in my name, in my identity, in my life, separate from you all, that creates suffering. As long as I can have a larger worldview of inclusivity and seeing you all as my brothers and sisters, seeing the Hamas as my brothers and sisters suffering, having compassion for the person in my group who had this aggressive style. My lesson is to learn to be in my heart rather than my defensive ego putting up my dukes. That's the new humanity. So there's so much to read here. He says the new humanity will come into existence through a release of love in measureless abundance. Release of love in measureless abundance. And this release of love can come through spiritual awakening brought about by the masters. Now, whoever your spiritual guide is, whether it's Jesus, Meher Baba, an angel, higher self, Rumi, to bring in the Sufi Muslim path, Buddha, a Rinpoche as a Tibetan practitioner, whoever your spiritual teacher is, the spiritual hierarchy, there is the seen spiritual hierarchy on the planet and the unseen spiritual hierarchy on the planet. Sorry about the buses in the background, it's a little noisy. The seen spiritual hierarchy on the planet are things like people like Mother Teresa, Dalai Lama, Gandhi, these gigantic beings. There are different hierarchies that play out. There's the unseen, where Jesus is no longer in the body, in the flesh at the moment, so to speak. Meher Baba is no longer in the flesh. Buddha is no longer in the flesh. So we have these other realms of spiritual hierarchy. Then you have the ascended masters, and you have the archangels and the angels. There's many, many complex layers of spiritual hierarchy, all of which, in form and not in form, are working together to help us bring in the new humanity by love, through love. Love is the whole thing. As Meher Baba said earlier, it's not about miracles. Jesus had a lot of miracles, but Meher Baba says a little controversial thing. He said Jesus showed a lot of miracles in his life, raising people, Lazarus from the dead, the blind man, all these things. And yes, it was to pull people into helping them believe in who he was, no question. But it was also to aggravate what people who would be crucifying him. It was a play there. But Meher Baba says that's really not the point of Jesus' life, those miracles. The point was his love, divine love. That's where St. Francis hung out. He didn't hang out with being mesmerized by Jesus rising somebody from the dead. He hung out in divine love. There's nothing wrong with miracles, but it's the divine love. That's the new humanity. So I think it's important for myself, in my case, you in your case, us in the general case, to understand that we have incredible help here from the in-form hierarchy on the planet and the ones who are not in form. Profound spiritual help. Having faith that it may look like our darkest hour when you turn the news on, but knowing that in the background there is a team of incredible, unbelievable beings that we can't even imagine, who are pulling strings and doing things to help us bring in the new humanity. I had a incredible experience, honor, one of my clients I've seen her about a year, and she's had a massive spiritual awakening since I met her, since we've been working together. And she started out crying in incredible, just oceans of grief pouring out of her being. So much sorrow, and she had to go through that. And 2 months ago, she had the great fortune of being able to go to the Galapagos Islands. And the Galapagos Islands are 600 miles off of Ecuador. And she said she went with a scientific expedition, the minute she put her foot on the Galapagos Islands, she went into a profound spiritual zone of grace and didn't get out of that zone until she left there. It completely changed her life. And there are different spots on this planet that are vortexes. Iona Island, which some of you know about, different Grand Canyon, Galapagos, different vortexes, the Himalayas and the planet, small and large, that are openings of energy where tremendous grace pours in. And while she was there, she was the only one on this expedition that had these experiences, where she was in such a profound state of love that was clearly being showered upon her by the spiritual hierarchy, by the angelic realm, etc. No question about it. She wasn't, oh, I'm going to be in love now. She wasn't doing it. She just was an innocent bystander. And this love poured out on her being to the point where all of the animals came up to her, just like St. Francis. She was swimming with her snorkel, and this huge, giant sea turtle came up and swam right in front of her and sat there with her in the water for about 10 minutes, communing and just communicating love. And she was sobbing inside her goggles. This profound state of unity she felt with this sea turtle changed her life. That's the new humanity. Another time she was sitting on the beach and there was a mother lion with her baby, and the baby lion, excuse me, what do you call it? Lion, not lion, no, sea lion. They don't have lions in the Galapagos. Sea lion, baby sea lion came up and kissed her on the knee, licked her knee. She had this happen over and over and over again. State of love. So when the Dalai Lama was interviewed by a great interviewer, Bill Moyers, and the Bill Moyers said, who are your favorite people on the earth? And he looked at him and he said, the person I'm with at the moment. So close your eyes for a second and imagine that the person you're with right now, you're sitting next to, or you're living with, or your best friend down the road, somebody very close proximity to you. Just imagine that you're going into your heart and you're living from your heart space in relation to this person. You're not looking at their shortcomings or the little spat you have with the person. You're just in your heart with the heart of the other person. And you're seeing and being with the magnificence of this person. Be with that person right now from this space of love, forgiveness, gratitude. Just be there and breathe it in, just unspoken. Think about how that feels. That's the new humanity. That's what we're all craving and asking ourselves to move into as a collective on this earth. So he says, love cannot be born by mere determination. Through the exercise of will, one can at best be dutiful. Through struggle and effort, one may succeed in assuring that one's external action is in conformity with the concept of what is right. But he says love has to spring spontaneously from within. It is in no way amenable to any form of inner or outer force. Love and coercion can never go together. Love is essentially self-communicative. Those who do not have it catch it from those who have it. Those who receive love from others cannot be its recipients without giving a response. That is the nature of love. So, I want to read from Stephen Levine's book. That's a Buddhist meditation book. And I just want to take last couple of minutes just to go into a loving kindness meditation. Try to kind of concentrate on what I'm saying as far as just going within, eyes open or closed, leave the distractions behind, just focus on this exercise. So Stephen Levine, who's a great Buddhist teacher, he says it's called the Guided Loving Kindness Meditation. That's the new humanity. Get comfortable. Breathe in and out, eyes open or closed. And as you breathe, your mind automatically quiets down. All of the fidgeting and the distractions just quiet down. Take a few minutes to get into the rhythm of your breath. Begin to look at yourself as though you were only a child. Oh, take a minute. How does it feel for you to be a child? Well, if I do that, it feels light, it feels quiet, it feels peaceful, it feels joyful, it feels innocent, all of those good things. And in this loving kindness meditation, it's the Tonglen meditation, Buddhist, silently in your heart as a child, as an open child, it says, may I be free from suffering. May I be at peace. So may I be free from suffering. May I be at peace. Feel the breath breathing into your heart space as you relate to yourself from the space of loving, gentle kindness. Gentle kindness with yourself. No more judgment, no more harshness, gentleness with yourself. May I be free from suffering. May I be free from suffering. May I be at peace. Allow yourself to receive that. Whispering to yourself, he says, send wishes for your own well-being. What a beautiful thing. As a little child, I'm sending my little inner child, my little inner person, deep gentleness. Deep gentleness. May I be free from suffering. May I be may I be at peace. Breathing it in. May I be free from suffering on the in-breath. On the out-breath, may I be at peace. Breathing in, may I be free from suffering. Breathing out, may I be at peace. When I do that with my breath, quieting my mind, my body gets still. It gets light. So you continue, if you want to do this on your own later, a little longer, with focusing on yourself. Each breath, may I be free from suffering. May I be at peace. Receive that. Sometimes we have difficulty receiving. So just let go and allow compassion for yourself. Now, gently bring to mind someone for you who you have a feeling of warmth and kindness, somebody who you love. Picture that person. Picture that person in your heart. And with each in-breath, whisper to him or her, may you be free from suffering. May you be at peace. With each breath, may you be free from suffering. May you be at peace. This person that you love. You keep doing that. We're kind of running out of time here, but keep doing that. To the loved one in your heart, may you be free from suffering. May you be at peace. Now, imagine someone in your mind that maybe you have challenges with. Whether the person's alive or dead, a parent, a friend, a roommate, a lover, an enemy, a Hamas on the TV, doesn't matter who it is. Just take somebody and put that person in your heart. Breathing in to that person who challenges you, may you be free of suffering. May you be at peace on the out-breath. Breathing in, May you be free of suffering. Breathing out, may be at peace. As you do this on your own meditation, keep doing that until you really feel that you're offering compassion and love to that person who challenges you. And now you take the whole collective of the earth, all the beings who are having difficulty and beings who are not. And you take the whole collective of mankind and you shower this loving grace upon the whole earth. May all of my brothers and sisters be free of suffering. May all of my brothers and sisters be at peace. That pulls us into the state of unity with all human beings. And then we say the same thing with all creatures. All rocks, all trees, the sun, the moon, everything. May you be free of suffering and may you be at peace. Breathing it in and breathing it out. Breathing it in and breathing it out. And I'm trying to hold up this candle right now. It's gotten hot. And just in closing now, this flame from this candle, the new humanity that Brother Sean is helping to bring in with the Abbey, that all of us are helping to bring in our own way. Our benevolent, loving, gentle idea of the perfect world. That's the new humanity. That's the shift that's happening on this planet right now. So this candle is a blaze for the new humanity. It is a blaze for all of the hierarchy, the spiritual hierarchy, seen and unseen on this planet and off the planet. May we know that we're cared for profoundly, and that they too say the prayer, may you be free of suffering, may you be at peace. That's their prayer for us. May you walk out of this broadcast with footsteps upon this earth of great prayerful gentleness. This earth is a living being. It is God in a kind of form. Walk peacefully and gently upon this earth, holding compassion for yourself, great gentleness for yourself, great tenderness and mercy for yourself, for your loved ones, for your enemies, for the whole world. And so, in closing, I show you this photograph of Meher Baba once again. Meher Baba was the embodiment of divine love. He often said that if we could only love God like St. Francis loved God, that's what's required. So I say this blessing for all of us and for Brother Sean's event. I guess it's after the broadcast, I'm not sure, maybe it's now. Blessings on your beautiful passion for creating this abbey. And blessings on all of us as we help shepherd and bring in the shift on the planet, the new humanity that is made of love and peace. And remember who you are. You are a child of God. Thank you so much for being with me today. I send love and blessings to everyone. And thank you, Eleanor, for cueing me in. Thank you, Teresa, for being there. Aw. I appreciate your help with my tech. I have this funny little tech thing going on over here. I appreciate all the help I can get. So I love you, everyone. Thank you so much. Blessings on your day. And you can cue me out when you're ready. Thank you so much. I love you.